Over 1 million demonstrators from all over the country took to the streets across Brazil on Sunday demanding for the impeachment of left-wing President Dilma Rousseff. Her administration is facing the public unrest for a weak economy and a massive corruption scandal involving the country's state-run oil company giving out kickbacks to politicians. In Rio de Janeiro, they gathered along the Copacabana beach, while in the capital, Brasilia, protesters marched on government headquarters. The mood was festive, and many demonstrators wore the country's colors, green, blue, and yellow, waved flags, and chanted, "Out with Dilma." And I quote one of the protesters saying, "I love Brazil, I love my country, and I'm tired of corruption. We are tired of corruption. It does not matter which political party you are from, we are tired of being robbed," he said in Sao Paulo, where people packed the main Paulista Avenue. Nick, this is something that has been a long time coming. We've seen the violent protests that happened in 2013 before the World Cup, and this is just the culmination of what's going on in Brazil. You know, they're coming off 5 years of a very weak economy, and now this multi-billion scandal where they found this deep corruption going on Petrobras, the national Petroleo Brasileiro, and then, you know, they get this unrest in the country.
Yeah, and they use the World Cup as a stage to get their message across. And like you said, it all just culminated, and they've realized that nothing's changed because corruption has been such a hot topic in Brazil for so long.
Yes.
And they can't seem to get rid of it. And like that protester said, they're tired. They're tired. They're tired.
And I think she had a very, very tough job to do when she came into office in 2011. She used to be Lula da Silva, the very famous president. She used to be the chief of staff. So she knew what's, you know, the state of the country. But the problem is that this big Brazilian boom with Lula came to an end just when she came to office. So she has been struggling with facing 5 years of very little economic growth in the country. But her cabinet is still saying that this is only the unhappiness of those who were beaten at the polls, because as we know, she was recently re-elected by a very small margin against Aécio Neves. And Aécio Neves was one of the front voices of the protest, and he said that was the day that Brazil got together to renew their virtues and to renew their values and their dreams, because they're tired.
And it set the bar so high, and people had such high expectations. And now for something like this, like a scandal like the Petrobras thing to come out, it's just going to piss people off a lot more, and we see that it did.
And we see systemic corruption all throughout Latin America. When we see these situations, we've talked about the corruption in Mexico, we've talked about the corruption in Brazil, in Argentina, where we are seeing that it's a commonplace for governments to do, you know, under the table agreements and favor one versus the other. It's really, really sad. Brazil is about to go into a recession. The expense that they had for the World Cup is hurting the population, especially the poorest ones, and they're not happy and they want it to stop. It is good to mention that most of the people that came to this protest, they are from the wealthier demographic from Brazil, because the party in the power is the populist party, so they are not very happy with the things that they are doing in the government anyway. So it comes with a grain of salt, but millions of people all across the country is something that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you cannot deny that. Look at this picture. Look at the other ones. Even Batman came out. I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, it's sad, but like you said, she had a really hard job. It's easy to just, you know, blame it all on Dilma, but at the same time, she had a really, really, really tough task of pulling that country back into stability. And with the corruption thing, that's a whole other thing. That just shows that nothing's changed at all, really, as far as that.
And it's good to mention also that the investigation of this corruption case in the oil company has not stated that the president is a suspect of any wrongdoing. But the problem is that she used to be the chairwoman of Petrobras, of the oil company, when all this corruption happened. So the people are saying, you should have known about it, and you probably knew about it, so you are responsible for it. So let us know what you think. Is she doing a very bad job heading the country, or she's just hiding a big corruption case that is going to be uncovered pretty soon? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the Lip TV.